You're very welcome back. Now, he's one of our most acclaimed cinematographers, having been Emmy-nominated 4 times, including an Emmy win for his documentary Mississippi Tales from the Last River Rat.
Now, Colin Stafford Johnson is back home for a 16-date event talk across the country, which takes on his experiences exploring one of our most amazing attractions. It's the Wild Atlantic Way.
Yes, before we speak to Colin, let's have a reminder of his work. Here's a clip from his BBC documentary series, Wild Ireland, The Edge of the World.
When I was growing up, I remember I had that sort of iconic photograph of a humpback fluke on my bedroom wall, and I remember thinking, I'd love to see one of those one day. You know, well, never in a million years did I think I'd be watching sights like this here. This is now a relatively common sight off the west coast of Ireland. These are almost resident humpback whales.
Wow.
Sorry,
amazing.
we're having a chat here about the footage, and you're telling us who actually shot it as well.
Yeah, on certain shoots, you know, sometimes I do my own stuff, sometimes I have to get people in to film me, but often these days on bigger projects, you know, there might be a couple of camera people there.
Incredible.
Sort of thing.
It's amazing.
Course.
How long have you been at this?
About 25 years.
Right, how did you get into it?
Well, I left school. All I thought about when I was leaving school was not doing very much. I was thinking early retirement when I was 18. I wanted to go and explore the world. And I've always been really into natural history. But there were places I wanted to go. You know, I was fascinated by New Guinean wildlife, Australian wildlife. So I wanted to go to those places. So I did that old thing of getting every sort of job. I worked in gold mines, held stop-go signs, ran ski lodges, did whatever I could to get money to travel around the world, to go and see all these things. And then by chance I was coming back. I was about, I guess, 23, 24 years of age, passing through London. And I picked up a university guide to courses that were available in the UK. And there was one in biology and filmmaking. Right. And I did that, and I've sort of, the day after I left college, I got a job working with the cameraman, and I've sort of struggled about in the industry ever since.
So you shadow a cameraman, do you?
Yeah, to become a wildlife cameraman, the best thing is to get in with someone who's really experienced.
Okay.
There's a lot of gear involved, particularly in those days. Now, it's much easier in the sense that you can shoot great stuff quite cheaply. But in those days, we had film cameras. So to get started, you needed the proper kit. So to get experience, you just had to get in with someone and sort of learn from them. Really.
So where have you been then professionally? Where have you filmed around the world?
Well, I mean,
where haven't you been, isn't it?
Yeah, most continents, and I would have concentrated a lot in India. Tigers are my bread and butter for years, so I've been, you know, I've been following a tiger family for 20 years. I'll be going back and seeing them in November again, probably.
And tell us where you watch them. Just set the scene for us, because this is so foreign to the rest of us who leave the house and go and do normal jobs, and you know, it's just so different.
It is. I mean, you're probably sensible, or people sensible doing normal jobs. I wouldn't recommend mine necessarily to anybody.
But it is an extraordinary career.
It's an up and down career. I'd use the word career loosely too, but anyway. But so India, there's a national park called Ranthambore, and I was sent out there by the BBC in the late 90s to basically go find the tiger and bring back a story in the good old days. Now there's a million people involved in this decision making. In those days, be one person saying, let's go get the story. And so I had to find a tiger that was at an interesting stage of its life and follow it. And so I did that for, well, really over several years. So I spent 200 days a year in the field from dawn till dusk. Yeah,
200 days?
200 days to make a 48-minute film,
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of time, because tigers aren't that difficult to find. Right. As they move to the forest, everything roars and screams at them, all their potential prey animals. And they leave prints the size of saucers. So, you know, or dinner plates. So they're not that hard. They're not that hard to find. But they don't do an awful lot day to day. You know, wander around and sleep a lot.
Because what we don't give a lot of consideration to as a viewer is that we're spoilt by the moments of magic when we watch these BBC incredible documentaries and we get those flashes of magic. But it's the waiting time.
It's the waiting,
behind
and then
the
it's
scenes
the potentially
that we never see.
And it's the potentially missing. I mean, I was waiting for Tiger Fight to happen. I knew it was going to happen over a couple of months. I knew it was going to happen.
Months.
But it all came down to, you know, 30 seconds, and you had to be there, you know, at the end of a day. And if you miss it, you've missed it.
And I suppose there is a narrative arc that you've been following. As you know, you're thinking once it goes to air, it'll be edited down, there'll be a story, and the story will end with the fight or whatever.
Exactly. So it might be a really critical moment, and if you get that moment, you can build a film up to that moment to build out of it. So those things, you just have to be there. So you can never leave. You know, dawn till dusk. I'd get there when it was dark and leave when it was dark.
Yeah.
And that's all you have to do, just put in, day out.
Have you been to the has your work taken you to the Amazon at all?
It
We've been
certainly
watching it on
has.
telly and the news.
Yeah, it certainly has. I made a series for the BBC years ago in South America called Andes to Amazon, and listening to the news today now is so incredibly sad. I was filming monkeys there, these Wakari monkeys that lived in the centre of the Amazon, the Rio Negro. And I spent a few weeks up on the canopy, you know, on the little platform. And it's just like a Garden of Eden. It's how you imagine the world should be.
Yeah. Perfect,
without man being... And as far as you can see into the distance, there's rainforest canopies. And I was in a little hide up there, waiting actually for seed pods to explode too, for parrots to come in and feed on the seed pods. And when you're in the Amazon at dawn, if anyone could experience that, it's just sacrosanct. Yeah. It's just the most perfect place you can imagine, and the way the world should be. And you know, since I've left school, half of it's gone. You know, in those years, in the years since it's gone so
shocking.
fast. And now to imagine some of those places I've been are now in flames. So when you think they're just wall-to-wall trees, wildlife, you just feel almost there.
It's incredibly sad.
Yeah, very, very sad.
You've been all over the world, but we want to bring you back home to talk about this, because the Wild Atlantic Way has probably been one of the most successful tourism campaigns Ireland has ever put out there.
Yes.
And this is, of course, the trail from Donegal down to Cork.
Yes.
And you have covered it with a fine-tooth comb, it has to be said.
Over the years, I have. Yeah, and I hope people are doing this series of talks around Ireland. And I suppose it's about, for people who, well, for all sorts of people, for those who are into wildlife, for those who aren't necessarily. But if you want to go and you want to find where humpback whales are the best place to see grey seals or otters or whatever it is, I'm going to take you on sort of a journey to some of my favourite places.
Right.
But tell you how to go and see these things for yourself as well. Not just a question. Sometimes you watch a TV programme and you feel very removed and you think, oh, I couldn't do that. But, oh, yes, you can. Anything I can see, you can go and see for yourself.
I suppose that's the benefit of it being on our doorstep. And for those of us that would be like, oh, sure, geez, I'd never see, I don't know, the otter. I'd never see the whale. I'd never get the chance to see it. I suppose go to the experts and you'll be able to tell us a little bit more about it.
You can see a whale later on this afternoon if you jump in your car and go.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Look at the eagle.
Look at that footage. It's incredible.
It's all there to be seen. Some things take a little bit more work, but there are some incredible places. I was staying in the Blasket Islands there, and staying in Peg's house. I don't know if you had to do Peg's stairs.
We did it in school,
yeah. And I was staying in their house, and I don't know what she was giving out about. You know, it's remarkable.
It was fabulous, was it?
And now it's amazing. There are humpback whales out in the Blasket Sound. There are 1,000 grey seals hauled out on the beach.
Wow.
You know, basking sharks coming back. It's a pretty impressive. This is humpback whales bubble feeding that we filmed just off the Blasket Islands.
Oh, wow.
What do you mean by bubble feeding, Colin?
Well, what they do is they go down deep and they blow bubbles in a circle and corral fish, scare them into swimming together, and then they come up underneath them with their big mouths and swallow the lot. You see, otherwise the fish would be scattered. So they literally make like a net that frighten them into one place. And then just come and swallow the lot, So all these things can be seen off our coast.
It's knowing what to look for when you're on your journey, isn't it? Which is why this talk is so important.
Well, and if people go, and you don't have to be a big wildlife person. I know I did a series of talks a couple of years ago, and I knew quite a few people being dragged along by partners. But it was quite satisfying when they came along and said, I didn't know what to expect. But I actually enjoyed that, and I learned a lot about
You can see it's not just you telling us where to go, it's also it's visual aids as well. You can see everywhere you've visited. You can check out the images. There's loads of dates here. They're all on your Facebook page, going from Bray all the way down to Galway, all over from September to October. It looks absolutely fantastic and definitely worth checking out. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you, Colin. Fascinating, and continued success to you.
My Wild Atlantic Journey is the name. The autumn tour takes place in 16 dates across the country, and a full list of locations are on the Weekend AM Facebook page. Tickets are available at the individual venues.
Can I just tell you, our cameramen have never paid so much attention to an item we've done in this studio. We have faces looking at the monitor all over the place.